Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope everyone's had a very good day. So let's get into the Manchester United news. So we're going to kick off first and foremost with what I think is quite a shocking story, and it's one that we really had been saying about earlier on and throughout most of the actual summer transfer window. And of course that is the actual job status and the actual work that the likes of John Murtough, that the likes have been doing behind the scenes. And there's been a shocking article come out today, and this has come out from Laurie Whitwell of The Athletic, a very, very good source when it comes to this kind of stuff, these kind of inside views of Manchester United. And the behind the scenes at this club, simply put, is an absolute mess. We've been saying it for a long time on the channel, we've known it for a long time as a fan base, but really it's once we get into the nitty gritty of it, the actual details of what's going on behind those scenes, behind those doors, do we really get to see just how much of a mess this club is. And look, it's not United getting a 1-star hygiene rating for giving food poisoning to both executives and to the food reviewers. No, this is actually a lot more serious. So I want to go through basically the upshot of this Laurie Whitwell article, and this will get some people very annoyed. And look, a lot of people think Murtough is one of those guys at the club, alongside Arnold potentially, who, yeah, maybe they're doing an okay job. You know, we look at it in terms of what we got, we look at it in terms of the Glazers, and we think, yeah, maybe they're trying the best they can. But some of these decisions are genuinely baffling. Look, first and foremost, there's a big falling out between John Murtough and Sir Alex Ferguson over Jude Bellingham. This was really whenever Jude Bellingham came to tour the Carrington facilities, and this is right before he went to Borussia Dortmund, because United in for him. It was Dortmund in for him when he was leaving Birmingham City. So would have been the right time to get him. It would have been the time we should have wanted to get him, but we didn't. And look, for a long time we thought this was because he looked at the state of the facilities at Carrington and they didn't they weren't up to scratch, or they weren't in line, or they weren't quite what we wanted them to be. But the actual story is a lot worse for John Murtough. So basically what happened was there was an agreement to have Sir Alex Ferguson meet the family, and that kind of would have been a deal sweetener. It's one of those, I believe it was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the manager at the time as well. So this certainly would have been a hell of a deal for United today, and we missed out on it mostly because of John Murtough. John Murtough refused to go and see Sir Alex Ferguson, blanked him at Carrington that day. This is according to Laurie Whitwell. I got the exact notes here as well. So there was scenes involving Murtough and Ferguson, which was enlisted by Sir Alex Solskjaer to assist on the charm offensive for a Carrington visit of Birmingham City midfielder Jude Bellingham in March 2020. Solskjaer and his assistants had prepared a presentation to prove the prospects in the first team, as well as compiling detailed personal reports, and felt Sir Alex would add a glamorous finish. Murtough, however, took a different view on how to approach the sales pitch. However, Ferguson did shake hands with Bellingham 16 at the time, but rather than allow them time to talk, sources said Murtough guided the player and his parents out of the room and for a tour of the facilities. Ferguson was reportedly enraged at the perceived slight and said so to Murtaugh's face at a later date. John Murtough has told people he did not interrupt the meeting, but as with the Nicky Butt fallout, any tension was due to misunderstanding. PJ says we could have bought kudos. We could have. There's an entire list of things we missed out on there, man. And some of them are absolutely shocking. Like, when we look at the upshot of it, it really is bad. The scouting department at United valued Anthony at around 25 million. We paid 80 million pounds. Mason Mount was valued at 40. We paid 60. Højlund at 50. We paid 72. Casemiro was bought instead of Frankie de Jong out of a panic buy. Bellingham was set to join, and there was a falling out with Sir Alex Ferguson. Harry Kane and the centre back budget was mismanaged, and a lot of that's going to come down to John Murtough. He could have had Mohamed Kudus. He could have had so many of these great players if he knew what he was doing at his job. And I've always felt he wasn't the right choice. I've always felt he wasn't the right man for this job, and I think we've been proven right on that there as well. So look, it is shocking when we think about it and we actually look at what has gone on and what has transpired behind the scenes of Manchester United, what has gone on when we're looking at the guys actually calling the shots. Because I do feel like for a long time there was always this perceived narrative, really, that was probably put out by those inside the club, that if it wasn't for the Glazer family, for instance, they would be able to do a much better job. But that does not seem to be the actual case of the scenario whatsoever. So basically the upshot of this article as well, very damning for John Murtough. I feel like it's going to put him really into the public light, the same way that the Richard Arnold one did a couple of weeks ago, put Arnold into the public light and right into the firing line. So top technical directors declined Manchester United as it did not want to work under current ownership and John Murtough in particular. There was no structure or systems in place to decide who makes key decisions over transfers and budgets. These are another thing that Murtough should have been in for. We planned to spend 40 million on Mount and get Højlund for 50, but we spent 132 million, an overspend of 42 million pounds, which likely stopped Ten Hag from getting a centre back target, which would have got us Kim Min Jae. Scout said Antony was worth 25 million, but they spent 85 million in a panic buy. Money spent on Antony and Casemiro. Those panic deals have come out of the budget to stop us going after the likes of Harry Kane, after going after Kim Min Jae, all highlighted on Laurie Whitwell's recent report. Really, it does show that the guy in the thumbnail is going to have a hell of a job to do in his hands, and that is Sir Jim Ratcliffe, and that is the Ineos group. Whenever this takeover eventually gets done, it's going to be one hell of a job for them to actually get the right people in charge. And I think we can see, really, as bad as Manchester United's transfers have been, a lot of it's due to our own fault. It's not just Erik Ten Hag saying to buy the wrong players. It's also coming down to the recruitment team as well. There was other stuff within that report basically saying that there is nobody in a decision-making capacity at the club who can actually decide on how much a player is worth and actually go out and pay it. Basically, there's just such a gap between all the people who do the analyst work, the scouting work, and then those ultimately calling the shots. It's a big problem. It's a massive problem at the club, and I think this article really has brought a lot of it to light, and I think it's important, really, that we go through it. I might record a video on it tomorrow, see if I can get it up before the match. But speaking on the match as well, Manchester United take on West Ham tomorrow, so that's going to be an interesting match. For sure, going to be an interesting one at the London Stadium. Look, it's pretty much must win at this point. West Ham, I think we're going to have the advantage on them in terms of fitness. They're coming off a very bad result in terms of their midweek match against Liverpool, 5-1 defeat at Anfield. So hopefully we're catching them at the right time. Look, away from home and away to West Ham in recent seasons, it hasn't been great. Admittedly so, we have struggled to go away there and get positive results, really. But I think we can do it tomorrow. 12:30 kickoff. We'll be live on the channel for that there one. So I'm asking you guys about the predictions down below. Let me know your thoughts. A win, a draw, a loss. We've got 40 for the win, 20 for the draw, and 40 going to go for the loss as well. I'm not 100% sure on it. I think it'll be an interesting match for sure. I think West Ham have a lot of good players. Look, as PJ said, Mohamed Kudus is obviously very, very, very top level player. We should have got him over Antony in my own opinion, and certainly that is being proven right as well. But look, West Ham coming in decent form. United coming off the back of a 3-0 loss to Bournemouth, 0-0 at Anfield. That was disappointing result. Chatsport is down there. Is this true with Antony being worth 25 million? Yeah, man. So that's basically the upshot of it as well. The upshot of the Antony deal, according to Laurie Whitwell, was the scouts and the analysts basically valued the guy at 25 million pounds. We could have got him for that. That's what they valued him at. I think Ajax at one point would have took around 35-40 million pounds. So I think you still would have overpaid either way. But I still think 35 or 40 million would not be that bad of a deal. I think when you're talking 85 million pounds for a guy who doesn't have a right foot, this is kind of the concerns and worries. Jarl is down there. United scouted Antony under Ollie and his worth was 25 million. That's incredible. Yeah, look, I mean, look, some of the details, guys, it genuinely is absolutely unbelievable. Erik Ten Hag asked John Murtough for a midfielder in the mould of Frankie de Jong, an established centre forward and a left-footed centre back. Out of all those, I guess we got Lisandro Martinez in season 1. That's about it. We didn't get the experienced striker. We didn't get a midfielder in the mould of Frankie de Jong. I mean, we got Casemiro, but that's like that's the opposite of what we were looking for. Jordy, it's good to see you, man. Thanks for hopping on in. But yeah, look, I mean, some of the details, guys, is genuinely incredulous as well. There's a good summary of it here. Let me just quickly go through it for anyone who might have missed it already. John Murtough and Ferguson fell out because they had different ideas on selling Jude Bellingham. Basically, Solskjaer had prepared a whole presentation as to how Bellingham would fit into the first team and how he would be a first team player, not a youth player or an academy player. Sir Alex Ferguson was going to be there as well to talk to Bellingham, talk to the family as a deal sweetener, as a bit of a charm to add on top of it. And Murtough basically pulled Bellingham and his family out of the room and brought him on his own planned tour, his own planned presentation, which ultimately wasn't good enough because he went to Dortmund, and that was that there one. Top directors don't want to work with United under John Murtough. There's a real feeling that his desk is known as a black hole within Carrington. Anything that gets put on it just disappears. You can't escape John Murtough's gravitational pull at the club as well. There's no structure, there's no decision making in terms of what we know on the pitch. In terms of valuations as well, scouts, analysts, the guys looking at the numbers, the guys watching these players for a living, their actual job, their actual specialised role, are going out getting valuations for what they think Anthony's worth, what Mount's worth, what Højlund's worth, what Casemiro might have been worth. And Murtough's just going on and spending way more money than that anyway in the first place. So that's a big concern. We can see some of the details here as well. And we plan to spend £40 million on Mount and get Højlund for 50 million, which would have been accepted by Atalanta, but we offered 60, which gave them the encouragement to go out and actually get more money out of us. That would have cost us ideally £90 million, but instead we spent £132 million on Højlund and Anthony combined. And I guess when we look at that, that would have got Kim Min-jae, that discrepancy. The 40, 42, 43, 44 million would have got us the centre-back we wanted going into last summer. And that would have been a massive coup for United, because we've struggled so much at the back, and Kim Min-jae would be exactly the player we need. Scouts said Anthony was worth 25 million. We spent 85 million pounds in panic instead of listening to the scouts and looking for better value options. The money spent on Anthony and Casemiro panic deals came out of the budget to go all in on Harry Kane and Frankie de Jong as well. The lack of organisation at the top of Manchester United is a concern within the club, according to Laurie Whitwell, and it's only the tip of the iceberg that is now coming to light as well. He also has added, if Ineos can get Blanc, Ashworth and Mitchell for Arnold, Murtough and Fletcher, it would be one of the best things the club could have done post Sir Alex Ferguson. Absolutely. Emperor's down there. You ask United board to buy a midfielder and they go out and purchase a farm in Gloucestershire somewhere. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what we're talking about. We could have asked them, can we get some new cars for the players or something, and they would have turned up with a fleet of tractors. Genuinely, they just call a spade and just hope for the best. Jarl says, yep, we paid almost 4 times Anthony's value. We did. I don't think anyone would have complained either. I mean, if we bought Anthony for what, £25 million, and he just performed as he did, I think we would say, yeah, look, we might have wasted £25 million, but it's probably not the end of the world. But I mean, we spent £85 million on a guy with no right foot. We spent so much money on a guy who genuinely cannot use his right foot. Has 1 assist in 25 matches. Chessport said, how much would a sale fee be? I really don't know, man. Like, I really don't know. If we sold Anthony, how much do we get for him? Not a lot. I mean, who would want him either? Like, that's a question in of itself. Where would he go? Who's going to want such a one-dimensional player in terms of resale? I really don't know. I mean, it's interesting. It is interesting. I actually was looking at something earlier. Let me have a double check. It was an article basically that used the same analyst approach as to how we actually priced Anthony for 25 million in the first place and what his value might be if we apply that to him now. I don't think it's looking good either. Let me just double check. I did see that somewhere. Yeah, so as of the 19th of December, so fairly recently, 3 days ago, around about 35 million euros. You're probably looking £30 million. For a guy who spent £85 million on, that's not much of it. Emperor Jerome is saying £3.50. I mean, close. If we move the decimal over a couple, you're probably close enough to it as well. But honestly, it is shocking, and it is an absolute disgrace. And look, I thought the worst thing that was going to come out about United today was the fact that we give club ambassadors and club guests food poisoning, and then when the food reviewers came up for hygiene standards, we also give them food poisoning. That's what I thought would be the most embarrassing thing coming out today. But this Laurie Whitwell article really has blown a hole in the cover of a lot of people at United. And look, I think Murtough's been one of those guys, such an uninspiring choice as director of football. It's even been revealed that Ed Woodward himself knew that John Murtough would be an uninspiring choice. So that's why they decided to appoint Darren Fletcher, technical director, without giving that role any powers or any real specifications, just to present them both at the same time to make it look like we were actually doing something. I don't know what Darren Fletcher's been doing either. I really don't know what his job is. All I know is he's managed to bring his sons into the academy, and they both look like good players. But that's maybe about it. But seriously, like it is a massive concern how bad this club has been off the pitch. And I think when we look at why so many managers and so many players and how we feel for the last 10 years, we're seeing this here, this type of work ethic. We're seeing this type of performance, or lack of it, just going completely under the radar, completely unpunished, completely not even looked at. That's where I think the big concerns are as well. Seriously, just a quick bit of news coming out in the last couple of minutes. Sir Jim Radcliffe's 25% stake in the club will not be announced today or tomorrow. So it's going to be New Year. We'll be going into our third calendar year of Takeover. That's going to be fun. I'm sure you guys are really enjoying the Takeover by this point. Have some other news coming out as well tonight of Manchester United's travelling squad for West Ham away tomorrow. Andre Onana, Bayern Jair, Wan-Bissaka, Reguilon, Evans, Amrabat, Eriksson, McTominay, Van de Beek, Pellistri, Garnacho, Anthony, Rashford and Højlund. The players not spotted but who could still be part of the squad tomorrow include Tom Heaton, Rafael Varane, Luke Shaw, Bruno Fernandes, Kobbie Mainoo, Ahmad and Anthony Martial. We would have to imagine a lot of those players are going to be in that squad as well, because if so, I don't know what kind of team we're going to play, honestly. Guys, any thoughts down below? Let me know. Get those thoughts into the comments. Keep voting on the poll as well. What do you guys think is going to be the result of tomorrow's match? Big T's in the chat as well. Good to see you, man. Thanks for hopping on in here. And yeah, look, so the news basically for today, for anyone who is just joining in with us, there are three real pieces of news. First and foremost, John Murtough does not know what he's doing and has been a massive drawback on the club and has really failed in his role as director of football. Secondly, Radcliffe will not be announced today or tomorrow, so it's going to be New Year at this rate of going. And thirdly, Manchester United take on West Ham tomorrow. It's going to be an interesting match at the London Stadium. Any predictions for tomorrow's one? What do you guys think the score is going to be? I think West Ham have been involved in quite a few high-scoring matches recently as well, so certainly might be a goal, might be a game for goals. Look, they're coming off a 5-1 beating at Anfield by Liverpool, but before that they beat Wolves 3-0, they beat Freiburg, and then they lost 5-0 to Fulham. So, you know, it's been ups, it's been downs. Jerome says, with that defence, we're getting beat. I mean, yeah, look, it's hard to see past it, man. It really is. We have to assume out of those players who would be travelling as well tomorrow, Varane, Luke Shaw definitely will be in the squad. Bruno will be in the squad for sure. Kobbie Mainoo will. Anthony Martial probably is. I'd be surprised if Ahmad is. I think he's only really back in training maybe a week or so, so I would be surprised if he's part of the matchday squad for tomorrow. But yeah, look, certainly it's going to be an interesting match. I'm looking forward to watching it tomorrow anyway. Nice 12:30 kickoff right at the start of the day. So if it's a bad one, we can go on and enjoy the rest of our Christmas weekend anyway. So we can just ignore that. Bourne says, what about the Gurisi deal? This looks like an easy deal and would be worth the risk. It's an interesting one, and the reason why I say it's an interesting one is because a lot of it's going to come down to what Ineos want to do as well. Big T said Discord link is dead. Apologies for that. Let me quickly update that as well. Was from it just sort of reloads from the last stream, so I'll have to pop that back up. Cheers, man. Chassport said if your team scores goals, then you can beat West Ham. The problem is, man, we don't score goals. We know this already. We really don't. We don't get a lot of goals, especially not at the minute. I actually saw an absolutely damning stat as well about Rasmus Højlund midweek. I believe in the last 660 minutes of football. So what is that there? That could be about 11 hours or so. Maybe, would it be? Yeah, 11 hours, I think. He's received 10 passes from Anthony and Garnacho combined. So on average, the guy is waiting, I believe, 66 minutes per pass from the wide players, and that's combined. And Big T says, "Will Guirassy go to AFCON?" He might well do, and look, that's that's going to be an interesting one there as well. Do we sign a player who will be going to African Cup of Nations so soon? Now, the positive we have to say now is because we have been knocked out of the Carabao Cup, because we're not involved in European competition, Manchester United have to play a grand total of not one but 2 matches in January. So this this whole entire concern we really do seem to be seeing about Onana going, about Guirassy maybe coming in, or other players going to African Cup of Nations should Aaron Wan-Bissaka choose to represent the Democratic Republic of Congo. It's not too much of a concern this time around because we've managed to get knocked out of the cup competition. So we've only got 2 matches in January itself. So I'm not too bothered either way with that. I guess we'll see Bayern Jer. One of those is going to be Wigan away in the cup as well, so that's not too much of an issue really for me as well. What do we got in the poll? 24 votes so far. 54% going for the win, 17 for the draw, and 19 going for the loss in tomorrow's match. Fairly balanced. Let me quickly update the Discord link as well. Thanks for letting me know, Big T. And yeah, look, guys, we're trying to get more active on it. I was having this chat the other night as well with a couple of guys on our last stream. Obviously, look, in terms of numbers, the channel really has been down for the last 3 or 4 months, like, and it is mostly a YouTube issue, but in myself there's things I can do as well. So look, I want to try and make some more content as well. So if you guys want to let me know about content you want to see, videos or lives, let me know. I think we had discussed maybe we could do 2 lives a day, maybe, because I'm going to be working from home 3 or 4 days a week from January onwards. So something we can do in the mornings or something we can do in the afternoon. So that's all potential. So what I can do is maybe like a lunchtime stream and an evening stream, or a morning stream and an evening stream, watch alongs, and maybe do a video in between. Gonna be able to do a lot more as well for you guys. So look, I'm looking forward to that, but let me know any thoughts or any series ideas you guys might have. Wouldn't mind doing some scouting videos, but I think it's gonna be quiet as well. I don't think there's much in terms of the takeover we really have to cover, because we've covered so much of it. I guess we can react to the Ineos changes as they come in, but I guess we already know what a lot of them's gonna be as well. Just to go back to what we were talking about earlier, really the main story of tonight is this this article has come out from The Athletic about John Murtough, about United behind the scenes. Truly, truly, it is an absolute mess. I think I think the Nicky Butt story is really interesting as well. Let me just quickly pull that there one up, because again, this is another disagreement between a player and John Murtough, or an ex-player and John Murtough, people associated with the club. We've seen it with Ferguson, we've seen it with Nicky Butt as well, and you know that's definitely a concern, really. Like, and these are the people we've had running the club for the last 5 or 6 years, the likes of John Murtough, the likes of Richard Arnold, and we said a long time ago, really, that both these guys need to go, and regardless of what the Glazers have done or what they haven't done, these are the guys as well who've been making a lot of these calls and squandering a lot of stuff. Big T says do some videos on potential Super League stadiums around the globe. Maybe, man, maybe. Thankfully, it doesn't look like we're going to be doing it doesn't look like we're going to be going into the Super League just yet. But look, I've been arguing as well on Twitter and stuff. I've been saying it to people. It's a really bad idea. These people saying, yeah, look, let's get into the Super League, because the entire reason the Glazers wanted to go really was about Super League, and them not getting what they wanted as well. This is the story about Nicky Butt as well. The report describes Nicky Butt and John Murtough's relationship as fractious, with one source saying John was lucky if he didn't come to blows, as Nicky Butt would have killed him if he really wanted to go for him. I think it's just standards and stuff, man. Like, I really can't tell you what John Murtough was doing before United. I think he might have been co-director of football at Everton. I think that's kind of the level we were talking about. And obviously Everton have had their own problems for a long, long time. And now these guys come in here and they're the ones making the calls. You have John Murtough trying to get a player like Frankie de Jong, and he buys Casemiro. You have John Murtough going with scout analyst and scout reports on Anthony, saying the guy's worth £25 million and we're spending £85 million on the guy. We have Mount, who should have been bought for £40 million. Even the club knows it, and we paid 50 to 55 really. We had Højlund, who we could have bought for 50 million, and Atalanta would have accepted that. That's what I think is the most interesting thing. They would have accepted it. They would have accepted £50 million for the guy. But we offered 60 million and they said, let's just keep asking for more. And they got up to 72 million. And with that money, we see if we could have went out and got Kim Min-jae. Kim Min-jae, I think, went to Bayern Munich for around 42 million pounds. Big T says, money always beats prestige. Nobody will publicly back it. But if it's set up, the clubs will go. I mean, I really can't see it happening either, man. The part of the reason I don't see it happening is a lot of these clubs have nothing to gain by going into it. Like, we're seeing talk of the likes of like Anderlecht or Antwerp and teams like this going in, like, they have nothing to gain. The only people who gain anything from the Super League is Madrid and Barcelona. We would be bailing Barcelona out of their own financial hole that they dug for themselves. You know, that's my big concern with the Super League. And look, I was very much against it in the past. Do I think the Champions League is much better? And do I think UEFA are much better? I really don't. But I think we stick with tradition. Personally, and I think there is talk about UEFA potentially changing the new layout already before it happens. Luman is in the chat. Good to see you, Luman. Emperor is saying, so United's present to everyone is food poisoning. The lead semi-takeover to ruin Christmases. It's the bloody theatres of nightmares. It is. It has been for a long time. Chatsport said, Mason Mount, number 7 shirt. Yeah. That was someone's idea. I mean, honestly, look, Mason Mount might be one of the biggest wastes of money that we've ever seen, because we could, if we didn't buy him in summer, we probably could just go and get him for a free and talk to him in January in a couple of weeks. Like that, we literally could have done that. Stephen goes, if you ever go to Old Trafford, refuse a chicken curry. Man, I'm telling you now, last time I went to Old Trafford, a friend of mine who I went with, he had one of the chicken balti pies and he was sick the entire night after we got home. Do I blame them for food poisoning? Maybe that's what we're going for. Maybe I'll get a claim in. I'll let him know. But it did happen. Like, do I think food poisoning is the biggest issue at United? Probably not. But I mean, it just sort of like sums things up. It's just embarrassing. And look, guys, it's like I said about the Super League. Barcelona and Real Madrid will be due a loyalty bonus of £870 million should plans for a European Super League finally get the go ahead and the competition actually happen. We're bailing these guys out of their financial holes. They're all like, that's why they're all for it. They know that they're in trouble, and they're trying to dig themselves out of it. They really are. I think tomorrow's gonna be an interesting match. So just getting back to subject, and getting back to our plans. I think tomorrow will be a really, really interesting match. It's gonna be difficult. It will be a hard one for United to get a lot out of. West Ham, if we can score goals, we might beat them. But it's about scoring goals as well. Emma says it's their exclusive chicken karma. No curries, of course, guys. But yeah, I mean, like, even looking at West Ham's form all season, it's been very up and down. Beat West Ham, sorry, the big Wolves 3-0, lost 5-1 to Liverpool. Beat Freiburg 2-0, lost 5-0 to Fulham. Beat Tottenham 2-0. Um, drew with Crystal Palace. Then they lost to Brentford, and they lost to Nottingham Forest and Everton and Arsenal. It's very, very up and down from West Ham, but they do tend to be good at home. It's a pretty solid home record. It's going to be a hard match tomorrow for us to get much out of. It really, really is. Who have I got in the comments? Stephen goes, United are an embarrassment from top to bottom. We are, man. Like we really are. Even the chef seems to be an embarrassment. Genuinely. From top to bottom, this club is an absolute mess, guys. Like, it really, really is. And the biggest positive that I can say about it is, regardless of how messy it's been behind the scenes, regardless of how bad it's been for years upon years, we've always managed to finish like top half. And it gives me encouragement that proper ownership with proper ideas and proper people running the show and proper decision makers who actually know what they're doing might be able to get a lot out of the club a lot quicker than maybe even we thought. Like, that could be a potential. That might be the case. And I mean, when we're talking about the likes of Ashworth and Paul Mitchell and Jean-Claude Blanc coming in, these are guys genuinely who we wouldn't have appointed in previous years. These are guys who we would not have even thought about or even had a chance of getting in previous years. And I think that will really help us out. I really, really do. When we look at it, all things considered, if we go from the likes of Murtough and Arnold and Darren Fletcher to Blanc and Mitchell, Ashworth, Friedman, this is the equivalent of going from a Fiat 500 with 3 wheels on it to go into a McLaren or a Ferrari or something. Is it going to put us any faster than everybody else? Is it going to put us leagues ahead of everybody else? Probably not, but at least we'd be fighting in a fairly even playing field. Stephen says, City are now world champions. We are rock bottom. Glazers out. I mean, yeah. The sooner we do get the Glazer family out, it will be a big deal. It will be a massive deal for the club, honestly. I think if we're talking about tomorrow's match, it'll be an interesting one. Bourne said morning streams can be cool. Just a suggestion. Yeah, guys, I would love to do morning streams, honestly. If you guys can give me a time, let me know what time kind of suits you guys. I will be starting work even if I am at home from about 9 o'clock. It will be 9 o'clock start, so it would either have to be like an 8 o'clock in the morning start, maybe, or if we want to leave it maybe slightly later, I could take an early lunch at like 11 to 12 and do a stream then and hop on for a bit. That could be something we do as well. Let me know anyway. I'll put a poll or something up, and because I want to get more stuff done. I'm hopefully going to be able to get some more setup and stuff in terms of what we want. Maybe even get a green screen. That might be something that we go for as well. So that could be interesting. Obviously, I could put like a studio background behind me, but I could also do like sort of a I don't know. Maybe if I'm doing videos, I can kind of do like a Monday Night Football type presentation thing as well. Big T says, is Ashworth coming in to work with Potter? I don't know. That's an interesting call. Look, I mean, Potter, there has been talk about Potter for a while. Look, I'll say this about Graham Potter. I will definitely say this. I think he's a lot better manager and a lot better coach than what he showed at Chelsea. I do still think he's a lot better now. Are Brighton a better team under De Zerbi? Yeah, they probably are. Even though the De Zerbi love-in doesn't quite show a lot of details that are out there, like no clean sheets in 22 matches, or things like that. There, I think that's some of the issues. Stephen says Radcliffe, his 7th Glazer announcements won't change anything. Glazers will never sell now. I think they have to. I think whenever this announcement finally comes, whenever it comes, it will include how the future is going to look and how we're going to be bought out eventually and how that's going to transpire and how it goes down eventually. These details will come out. Is it taking a lot longer than what we wanted? Yeah, of course it is. It's taking so much longer than what any of us wanted. It really, really is. But I'm hoping that we'll have some kind of clarification, some kind of, by the end of 2025, all shares will be bought up, Glazer family will be gone. maybe something like that can be put in, or we'll have Radcliffe and Ineos have majority control by then. Maybe that's kind of what we could be looking at. At the minute, look, there's not enough clarification for my liking. There was little pieces of information coming out from time to time last night. Does look like a big initial investment, which I think is going to be good, and that's going to help us with the stadium. That's going to help us with all those facilities. Jerome says, seriously, we need a proven striker, and Tony is not going to happen. No, I don't think Ivan Tony happens. We've not got the money for it. I think in terms of money, maybe the only player we can actually go out there and get maybe is Taremi from Porto, or we go for, like, as everybody else was saying, like a Greasy or someone like that. But it's whether or not we want these guys to be the long-term strikers as well, because I don't know if there's too much point in buying somebody who might be good for a couple of months, or just to get us through the next couple of months. You know, I think if we do bring people in, we want them to be someone who can be here for a while, not just an Odion Ighalo or a Weghorst, or, you know, signings like this. They have to be the right signings, I think. I think my concern was just about the Ineos mission statement. I think that's maybe one of the concerns I have there as well. But certainly, look, it looks like they're going to put some kind of money in. It might be fairly instant. We're going to find out very soon. But yeah, guys, let me know your thoughts. Stephen said they've sucked the life out of our club. Yeah, they have. It's for a lot of this season, I feel like we felt really disconnected, and I felt disconnected for a while at this club. Big T says, "Will I take the Brazilian Wolves striker?" Are we talking Mateus Cunha? I mean, Mateus Cunha is a good player. He is. Look, there's a lot of top players out there. There really is. I hope that we sign smart, and that's what I really want to see. I don't want to see us going down the same line of buying the same types of players and expecting different results. You know, I think we need some better. I think we need some smarter signings. I think when we look at centre back, either look at Ousmane Diamond or look at Lenny Yoro. Those are probably my top two choices. Centre back. I think midfield, I think we still need a number 6, because I don't think Amrabat is all that, all things considered. So I think in terms of that, I would like maybe an Amadou Onana or a Viper. Those could be my options in the middle of the pitch. And Nico Williams on the right, or a Bakayoko, or a Matthias Sule would be really good. Elise could be a really good shot as well in there. Lots of potentially good signings out there. I think it's important we get them right. I think it's important we get the right type of player brought in. Young, hungry, smart players who want to come in and prove a lot. Stephen says, Ineos will destroy United. Look, it's like I've said, guys. I've said this a long time. Radcliffe might be the best thing to happen to this club, or he might be the worst. He might be fairly nothing. It might be middle of the road. But at least it's going to be changed in a way we haven't had change before. We've changed the manager, we've changed the players, we've changed the tea ladies. Big T says Cunha is only 24. Yeah, I mean, he's not a bad player, man. He really isn't. I remember the talk last summer when it looked like we might have went in for him as well. Jerome says Tony would have been fit. Let's 2 books we buy dismount and injured players. Yeah, we do, man. Jasper wants Barella. Stephen says if The Rock wants to turn United around, then hire Rob Randick as director of football. I mean, stranger things have happened. Stranger things have happened. Look, I think there's some really top players out there. I think it's about buying the right ones. I might do, if you guys want, I might do a video series on who I would sign. And look at some players in depth, because we used to do some of those types of videos. You guys seem to like them at the time. Stephen goes, if the Rad, I've seen about Radcliffe. But yeah, look, I might do some of that, because I think some of the players that I would be for signing would maybe be younger type players that maybe haven't quite made their name yet. But I think that's maybe the way I would like to go. I really do. And guys, keep voting on that poll. We got 61% of people saying that we're going to go for the win. 12 for the draw, 27 for the loss. Jerome says he's 100% with Stephen. He's had a bad hunch since day one. I think, look, my thing with Radcliffe has always been, it's always been simple, and it's always been it's why he's gone from 100% ownership to 75 to 50 to majority to minority to 25%. That's what I want to say. Why are we looking at it in that perspective? Why has it gone down so much? Now the factors look to be coming out, but I would like to see clarification from their end, and I think more details. I think we can get a lot more on board with what they would want to do the more they speak publicly. And at the minute, maybe they can't speak publicly 100% on it, but I do think we need to talk about it, and I think we need to have some more information out there. Look, ultimately, the Qataris were promising a lot. They were saying they were going to spend £1 billion on players. Were going to spend £1 billion on the stadium, £1 billion on training facilities. Chassport says Gallagher going to Spurs. Big T says Conor Gallagher worth a punt. He's not a bad player, man. He's really not. Chassport would like to see some scouting videos. I would love to do some as well. Let me see. I think I tweeted this a while ago. In terms of players I would like to sign, and I'll go through this. I'll maybe do some videos on these players. Frimpong, I think I've done Frimpong before. Diamond or Lenny Euro have done that. Then we've got Vifer, Onana. If we want another attacking midfielder, if the time comes to replace Bruno, I would love it to be Florian Wirtz. Matthias Sula would be a really good example. I think Bakayoko. Loads of good players out there. I would love to shed some more light on them. I really would too. Kerwin is down there. Don't base it on your hunch. And Stephen goes, Ranić built Red Bull Group and identified top targets for United and what the Glazers do, refused to buy anyone. Yeah, look, he did identify some good players. I think he did, definitely. I think I would be okay with it though. Like, I don't think it has to be Ralf Ranić. I think it's got to be someone. I think like Paul Mitchell did a really good job at the Red Bull Group for the short time he was there, and he's done a great job at Southampton, Tottenham, and Monaco. These are all good appointments. Dan Ashworth, Brighton, and Newcastle, really good job, really good appointments. Blanc as well. You know, you're looking PSG and Juventus in terms of what he did at Juventus. Fantastic work in terms of what he did at PSG in terms of growing that as a brand and a club. Really good job. So these are the types of appointments I think we can get behind, and these are the type of appointments I think we can be up for watching and up for bringing in. Let me see as well. Who have we got? Stephen Gullag. Sorry, I've done Big T. Glazers staying alone would be worse than Jim coming in. Jim is an improvement, if only a small one. Yeah, look, 100%. I think it's the only type of change we want to see, and I think a lot of people wanted Qatar, and I think we're feeling disappointed by it. Was there promises? Fantastic. Yeah, they were. Like, they were absolutely brilliant. It's exactly what everybody wanted. No debt, loads of money for players, loads of money for stadium, loads of money for Carrington, really invest in the club from top to bottom. Yeah, look, that's really good, and that's what people wanted. But I think as well, when we consider that the bid never went through, that they never offered the amount the Glazers wanted, I think that's kind of where, you know, the concern is. Ultimately, it is the Glazers' club to sell, unfortunately, and they went with Radcliffe because I think it's going to make them more money. That's what they think anyway. Jerome says, base it on what I want, and when I say the state of the club and the constant mind changing by Radcliffe. Yeah, look, the mind changing is interesting as well. How much of it is actually him changing his mind? How much of it is actually the press saying he's doing something or he's going to do something? Because that's kind of the concern for me. I think when we look at it logically, and I think when we look at it both ways, they have not spoke really. He's legally not allowed to speak. This could be made up. It could be truthful. We don't know yet. And until we get like proper mission statements, we get proper public announcements of what they want to do, how they're going to do it, how they're going to pay for it, and when they're going to do it. I think we're going to be we're still just going to be waiting for it. And look, it's an interesting one. I am looking forward to seeing it. Of course, we'll go through it in all the details possible when that time comes. Bourne says, surely McTominay has to go join the Russian military, look like a footballer. Man, look, I've said this for a long time about McTominay. I really have. Scores goals, but he doesn't make the team better. I think it's not his fault, but when he's put in the same team as Bruno, you have no balance in your midfield and you just get run over, and it's so easy for other teams to play against. It's so easy to counter-attack and run right through the middle of our team. It happens every single week. My concern is that tomorrow we go back to playing either Manu or Amrabat and then putting McTominay and Bruno ahead of them and just getting contact on it constantly. Big T says, does a Super League make sense of why the Glazers would not take the Qataris' money? I mean, maybe. But then again, is it going to be Radcliffe's decision to take us into a Super League, or is it going to be Glazer decision? Where's the decision making going to come from there? That's what I wonder if it does happen. I can see loads of people in there, loads of likes in the video. Thanks very much for that there one so far, guys. Big ups on 18 likes. Yeah, look, it's a good talk. It is an interesting talk tonight. I'm really not sure where that could fall under. Is that sporting control, what competitions you play in, or would that be financial, and would that fall under what the Glazers would be controlling? Who would be deciding that? That's what I wonder. Look, we've been there, done that with the Super League already. The club have put out a statement already saying that we wouldn't be joining the Super League again. Whether or not they stick to it, I don't know. Tom says, I feel there's a problem with the relationship with the agency that is connected to the buying strategy, and Sir Jim will sack him, but there's not going to be an announcement on the Glazers leaving ever. Look, I think eventually it will happen. At some point it has to happen, and I do think firmly and fully believe that this Radcliffe announcement, whenever the hell it finally comes, we might be sitting here next Christmas waiting for it, but I do feel like when it eventually comes, what we will be seeing is a lot of details coming out, and I'm expecting official communication with the public and New York City Stock Exchange holders and the shareholders about what the buyout plan is going to be, because it has to be there. A lot of the good and reliable sources who've been really accurate on this deal so far have been saying the same thing, that this will be included in it. It's going to be interesting. It is going to be interesting to see where that one goes. Chatsport says United need points over Christmas. Yes, we do. I think when we look at the league table, we're not in a bad position, but we could be a lot better. At the minute, we have 28 points. So we find ourselves 6 points off top four. This is a kind of gap. This is a kind of separation where it can go one of two ways. If you start dropping points now, you could find yourselves 12 points behind by the new year. And that's a hell of a distance to close up. If you win your matches over the Christmas period, so West Ham, Aston Villa, two big asks, two really difficult matches going by their form, then, you could be making up points in that top four. You would stretch your lead over West Ham. We're only 1 point ahead of them at this moment, and if we can beat Villa, then you're within 5 points of them. Whether or not that happens, that's a different question. Whether or not we can beat those teams, I think we can beat West Ham. I don't know if we can beat Villa. Even if it is at Old Trafford, I really don't know. Big T said the statement said they're committed to UEFA competitions. It never said they would never play in a Super League in the future. It was carefully worded. It might have been, but I don't see how you can do both. I don't know if there's a way for United to have their cake and eat it with this one. I really don't. I think the big difference in this country and with the Premier League is the importance of the Premier League to the UK economy. It brings in billions every single year. A lot of money, a hell of a lot of money. It has a lot of jobs in it. And with all this talk about an independent regulator at some point coming in terms of the government, maybe that's something that will not be able to happen. I'm not sure. Whether or not it does remains to be seen another day. They might have left a legal door open in their opinion, but I think what they'll probably do is wait and find out. Wait and see what happens with it. That's what I think their plan would be. Watch and see what the reaction is, what happens to clubs who go. I think they'll try to bide their time. I'm sure we're not the only club looking at it that way. I'm sure plenty of other clubs will look at it that way, but it's about who makes the first step and takes the potential hit. Jasport said, apparently we have an option of 2 loans only in January. I'm not sure where you're seeing that there one. I would well believe it. I definitely could believe that as well. When we're talking about it, looking back at previous Januaries, there has been a lot of loan signings in recent years. We got Sabitzer and Weghorst last season. Under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, we brought in who would bring in Odi and Igalo. We brought Igalo in January, and looking before that as well. Very, very small amount of January business. The noise coming out from the club is that there's not going to be a lot of money spent in January. But I would expect a resolution on the Sancho situation. I think that comes at some point. Tom says, why would Ineos release info like that? You get more 80-year-old investees like the last person. That's not how business is conducted. The Glazers are waiting for an English club to accept that first. Chelsea, it might be. I mean, it could be. There are definitely parties within United who are working not in the best interest of the game of football or the club itself, but in terms of personal gain, and there always has been. That's why we find ourselves in that position as well. Chessport said 6 points in those 3 games could be an achievement. Yeah, let me see the matches again, man. Let me see. Who are we playing? West Ham, Aston Villa, and then I think it's Nottingham Forest, maybe? Is it Nottingham Forest? Look, I would definitely take 6 points out of that if possible. Look, I think a Villa, I think 7 points. I think that's what ideal. I think looking at the next set of matches, we play West Ham, we play Aston Villa, Nottingham Forest, Wigan Athletic, and Tottenham Hotspur. I think we can beat West Ham tomorrow. I think we can get a point at home to Aston Villa. We could win that, because at Villa Park, I say no chance. Nottingham Forest away, we should be beating that one. Depends on how the new manager bounce goes there. Wigan Athletic away in the FA Cup, we should be beating them as well. And then we play Tottenham Hotspur at Old Trafford. Even though Tottenham were playing really well at the time, we probably still should have got something out of that match. And if it wasn't for a blatant handball going against us in that one, we could have had a penalty before half-time. That would have been an entirely different match if we went on to score that. So I think we can beat Spurs at home. I really do. So I think out of the next couple of matches, there's a lot of potential there. Do we get max points? I would be really surprised. If we genuinely win 5 from the next 5, then that's one hell of an achievement and turnaround by Erik ten Hag, but I don't think we have what it takes. Emperor says, my concerns is we lose to West Ham and Villa, and after Christmas, Chelsea and the other teams get wins and draws, and we could be in a bad place, 10th or 12th, we need wins. We do, look, we need wins. I think if we can get 4 points from the next 2 matches, that's an achievement. That's definitely an achievement against Aston Villa and West Ham away, and then we move on. We should beat Forest. We should beat Wigan Athletic, and hopefully we can beat Tottenham at home. Daniel, what's good, man? Hope you're doing well. How are Sunderland and Newcastle doing, man? Chatsport said football is a huge income for the UK. It's a massive asset. Yeah, it is. It really, really is. And that's why they were very protective last time. The UK government did step in and openly condemn the Super League process and project. Let me just quickly pull it up. How much is in terms of the let me just double check this here, guys. In terms of the Premier League, £10.5 billion in the last tax year. That's how much it contributed to UK economy. Chessport said Forest manager bounce. It depends, man. Look, I mean, it's an interesting one because by all accounts, Steve Cooper was still massively popular with the fan base. He looked to be popular with the players as well. It looks to be an owner situation. And look, Nuno Espirito Santo has gone into his last two jobs really fighting a losing battle from day one. What happens there, I'm not too sure. Look, it'll be an interesting one. That's all we can really say. It will be an interesting one to see how that one plays out. I'm hoping that we can go out and beat them. I think they've got a fairly straightforward run in the next couple of matches. Look, they found themselves 17th at the minute. We should be beating them either way. Sorry, they play Bournemouth tomorrow at home, so that's probably a 6-pointer for them. The way Bournemouth are playing, I think they probably win that. Then they go to St James's Park on Boxing Day. I think Newcastle beat them, and then they play us at home as well on the 30th of December. So certainly, look, some interesting ones coming up there. I think Forest are definitely beatable. Daniel says doing a Sunderland match tomorrow. Hope they'll lose. Who's Sunderland playing tomorrow, man? Obviously Championship as well. I think it's Michael Beale's first match as well there, so that'll be an interesting one. But yeah, guys, look, as I was saying earlier, I'm trying to bring a lot more content to you guys as well, because there hasn't been enough, in my opinion, in the last couple of months, and that for me is my bad, and that's myself. So let me know any more content you guys want to see. I can definitely do more streams. Maybe we can do like a morning one or an afternoon one, along with the evening one. Or if we have maybe a match, I can do an afternoon stream as well, building up to that there one. But I would love to do some videos, some scout stuff, maybe some short videos as well. But if you guys have any thoughts or any opinions, any series or anything you want to see me do, let me know. And as well, I do want to work on a way to get you guys into the Discord, and get working on that there, so that we can have like live stuff as well. I'll pop the link for the Discord into the comments there if you guys want to check it out as well. Any more thoughts, guys? Make sure to drop them in down below. 43 votes on that poll so far. And in terms of it, 63% are going for the win, 12 for the draw, 26 for the loss. Some pessimists out there, but majority are feeling confident. The majority are feeling like maybe we can get something out of tomorrow's match. I don't know. I don't know how it's going to go down. It will be a hard fought one. Don't worry. Dan says, mate, don't worry about I haven't posted in a couple of months. I've just lost motivation for it. Oh, man. Look, it happens like it's just like work and Christmas, and I had like an exam to sit for work and had loads of study and stuff to do for that there the last couple of months. So yeah, look, it's been kind of hard to make the content I wanted to, but definitely got a lot more time now. Definitely going to make a lot more of it. Can see loads of people hopping on in, so thanks very much for joining on in with us, guys. Any thoughts? Make sure to drop them in down below. Let me know your thoughts for tomorrow's match. How do you guys feel about this shocking John Murtough news as well, and what's going on behind the scenes at Old Trafford and at Carrington, with John Murtough snubbing Sir Alex Ferguson, taking the Bellinghams out of the room when they were meant to meet with him? We could have had Anthony for £25 million, but instead we spent £85 million on a man with one foot. We could have had Mount for £40 million. We spent 55. We could have had Højlund for £50 million. We spent 72, and then we didn't have enough money to buy Kim Min-jae. If we didn't spend so much money wasted on Casemiro and Anthony last season, we could have got Harry Kane. A lot of ifs, buts, and maybes. But if our recruitment was any better, we definitely could be doing a lot more. We definitely be in a much better position. We really could be. We really, really could be. Jeremy says we could all take a shot every time McTominay hides behind an opponent. That could be an interesting one, man. I would probably be on the floor by the end of it. Maybe we'll do that there. Drinks roulette. McTominay hiding behind opponents. And then maybe we could do Bruno getting frustrated and trying to play a Hollywood pass. Those are all potential ones. Daniel says, so dumb. Yeah, I mean, this is the level we've been dealing with for a long time at this club, honestly. Daniel, by the way, man, it's Coventry City tomorrow for you guys. I hope you enjoy stewarding the match at the Stadium of Light. If anyone is going to be at that match, say hi to Daniel, of course. But as well, Daniel, if you see Joe Bellingham, tell him United might want to have a look at him as well. Daniel says, what does McTominay even do apart from sometimes pop up with a goal the odd time? Look, he's a box crashing midfielder. That's what he does. He's a box crashing midfielder. He arrives late onto the ball, usually around the 6-yard box, usually around the penalty spot, gets a good shot off and goal. It gets you goals. But the problem is that you kind of have to tailor your whole team to do that, and we don't at the minute. We can't get those guys up front the ball. We talk a lot, and a lot of people having goes at Rasmus Højlund, but the truth is about Rasmus Højlund, he has received 10 passes in the last 660 minutes of football. So I think that's what, like 11 hours? In the last 11 hours, he has received 10 passes from Anthony and Garnacho combined. That is our two wide players. The guys he should be putting crosses in for him, looking for him in cutbacks. They pass to him one time every 66 minutes. He's waiting over an hour for a pass from the wide players. I mean, this is the level we're talking about as well at times. You would not have to wait too long on a bus. A bus would come more quickly and more regularly than a pass to Rasmus Højlund on the Premier League pitch. Missy is down there. Lunchtime matches usually unpredictable. They can be. They definitely can be. I think Bournemouth beat us 3-0, not the last lunchtime kickoff, potentially. Jerome says, if we got it right with the players scouted, we'd be smashing teams next season. We absolutely would be. Daniel said the shocking man. Chassport said Rashford could start on the left wing in this game. He might do. I think Rashford is in the I think he's in the squad for tomorrow's match. So certainly he could be on that left hand side. But yeah, look, I mean, is either different. Big T says McTominay gets in positions Hoyland should be. That's why McTominay gets goals. It's actually interesting because when we look at it, in terms of the actual in terms of the actual goals scored by McTominay, he gets a lot more when Hoyland's on the pitch, and it's mainly because Hoyland is drawing the markers by making his front post runs. And the United players just don't seem to pick him up. Bourne says, after Sancho, Rashford should follow him out. We've seen enough of him, and United should be clever and make some money while he still has value. His bad habits are contagious to the youngsters. Look, I don't think it's bad habits. I don't know. I don't think it's bad habits. I don't think it's anything like that, really. But I think inconsistency is a big one. I just think we've got too many inconsistent players, and I think at his age he should be a lot more consistent, than the level that we actually see of him. Let me quickly pull up our squad for tomorrow's match. I'll quickly go through it one last time as well, just in case anybody might have missed out on that there one. The players confirmed in the squad are Andre Onana, Bayern Jer, Wan-Bissaka, Reguilon, Evans, Amrabat, Eriksson, McTominay, Van de Beek, Pellistri, Garnacho, Antony, Rashford and Hoyland. Those not spotted but could be in the squad are still Tom Heaton, Rafael Varane, Luke Shaw, Bruno Fernandes, Kobbie Manu, Amad and Anthony Martial. So pretty much as it is, Amad Diallo could be in the squad tomorrow. I'd be surprised if he was personally, but well, loads of comments coming in there as well. Jeremy says, if I think Neptune revolves around more frequently, it probably does. West Ham sandwiches. Daniel says, get Rashford out. He's so mentally fragile. McTominay out, Maguire out because he's only played well for a couple of games against mid-team. Give Bayern game time. I mean, Bayern's an interesting one. He'll have 2 matches in January when Onana goes to this African Cup of Nations, but that's probably about it, man. And Daniel goes, Anthony might be worse than Ali Daya. I mean, he's not worse, but I mean, maybe on his right foot he is. And Chassport said Rashford on huge wages, hard to sell him in poor form. It is. It's very difficult. You have to have someone who really wants him. And I mean, PSG have wanted him for a while. Maybe that could be the move in that case. Okay, guys, I think we're going to leave the stream there. So thanks so much for joining in. Been a really good stream. We'll see everyone for the watch along tomorrow. Should be live about 12 o'clock or 12:15 at the very latest. I think it's a 12:30 kickoff, so we'll be live before that. Make sure to join in if you guys are free. Have a good Friday night, have a good Saturday, and let's hope for a good performance and result tomorrow against West Ham. Okay, guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch everyone in the next one.